Whoa.
Woo.
Wow.
DTN? Oh, VidCon.
You guys are not all clapping that loud, are you?
Well, there's a lot of us.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Thanks for having me on, everyone.
Your audio is dead, apparently, on the feed.
Technically, because I met you at VidCon in July, randomly. I remember like just seeing one of your drawings, and I think I was like, "Do you know?" Because your drawings like looked similar to Steven Silver's or something. I think I don't remember how I like came up to you. I'm like, "Do you know Steven Silver?" And then we got into conversation, and then I found out you had a podcast. I'm like, "I want to come on your podcast," and then literally like a year later, we're finally doing it.
Thank you. Yes, it's fun to be here on a different day, Sunday. Welcome, everybody. Thank you. Yeah, I can't hear you on that.
I can hear you. They can hear you.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you. It's the feed on YouTube that's apparently not going for you.
Guys, say pineapple if you can hear all four of us. I don't know why I go to the word pineapple a lot. If you can't, say apple. No, that's bad.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, fine, apple.
Hi, all. Thanks for having me on the show today. Good morning, Sunday, just like Jack said. Interesting to do it at this time of day. Got my coffee keeping me alive.
They can't hear you, Carlos. They could hear me, but they can't hear Carlos. Lots.
Yeah, Ellie's good. I'm good. I think Landon's good. Yeah, Landon's good. It's just you, the host.
4 out of 3. Carlos, you will.
It's all right. We can cover for you. So, no.
Oh, yeah.
Woo!
Thank you. Thank you. And for everybody that totally didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats, Jack, on directing your directorial debut, right?
Yes. If anybody out there watches Spirit Riding Free on Netflix, there's an episode that I did that just dropped. Yes, what is today? Sunday. 2 days ago. It dropped on Friday. So
Cool.
check them out. It's a fun show. It's good. So
okay.
my handiwork is in.
Hang on.
Oh, that sounds different. I'll bet you they can hear you.
Yeah. Let me know. Write pineapple or sweet potato, whichever one.
Okay, yeah, right, sweet. Oh, I hear it. I think they can hear you now. Write sweet potato if you can hear all four of us now. And if you can't, say,
All right. Charlie
oh.
says yes. And then I
There,
hear,
they said they hear
hello.
Carlos.
Okay, cool.
All right.
So back to the top. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sketch Zone podcast. I'm
Sorry
Carlos.
about that mishap.
Hello, Lauren. You guys
Hi.
know her. You guys love her. Pineapple and sweet potato. That's what I'm talking
All
about.
right, we're in.
Folks that
We're
know
good.
what the hell's going on. Let's
in.
welcome Jack Kasperzak
Yes, thank you. They've heard me.
and Landon Wilson. So before you guys could not hear me, and I saw some people wanting to read my lips, I was trying to congratulate Jack because he's a director now at DreamWorks TV, and his show was released, and we are all celebrating him. And we're excited
Yes,
because
thank
this
you.
is a good week. This is a good week.
It is. It is.
Your show came out, and we got Lauren on the show.
That's
Yay. Congrats, Jack.
two
Awesome.
for one.
I
Thank
win.
you.
I'm out.
Thank you.
You guys carry the show from here on out. I'm done. See you later.
No, just when you get your audio working, you're out. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
I don't want to ruin it. Okay, so that's it. All right. I was kidding. I wasn't going to leave anywhere.
Oh,
So Lauren, like we were saying before, we met at VidCon, and it was at an animation hangout. It wasn't even a session. It was just like all the YouTube animators got together in a room, and were kind of like showing off their own work and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
and our friendship bloomed from there.
Yeah. I was like, he's a cool dude. And then we're supposed to do the podcast a while ago, and it finally happened, thankfully. But
It took a
sadly, I won't be
pandemic.
seeing you this July or June or whatever at VidCon. Hopefully, we do see each other at VidCon eventually when we're allowed to go in public again.
I know, right?
Crazy.
How cool is it though? So if you don't follow Lauren at all on social media, you should be ashamed of yourself and sell all of your computer equipment. But Lauren and her fiance Max got their own place just in time to be locked down.
Yeah, you're right. We did. We actually just got married in our local courthouse, actually.
Congratulations.
what?
We did. We
Congrats.
got married in January because we wanted to have a wedding, like a big wedding with all our friends and family. But I ended up getting diagnosed with a benign brain tumor out of nowhere for the second time. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time was like 6 years ago, and it was benign. Like, I just want to make that clear. It wasn't cancerous, thank God. But they got it out. Everything was fine. 6 years later, literally the day we were seeing the place we're living in now, I'm like, I could barely even walk around the house. I'm like, oh, my head. So I ended up, like, after we saw this place, I ended up going to the ER, and they diagnosed me with it. So I just, long story short, you see how I told you I was going to start rambling?
Oh, trust us, we don't care. We get to be quiet.
But long story short, I found, well, we were going to get married anyway. We were engaged for over a year, but I found out my health insurance doesn't cover the procedure to get the tumor out. So I was in the position to pay back hospital bills for the rest of my life if I was to go through with this. And so I'm like, what can I do to not pay back hospital bills? And Max is like, you could hop on my health insurance. So I'm like, guess we're getting married. So like, literally, like, we got the house. Like we put it down, like we put a down payment on the house. Then I got the brain tumor. Then I got married, and then I had the surgery in like a week. It was
Jesus.
Bananas. Yeah.
Does that mean you have a sort of ADD? Like, you are all over the place in just 1 week?
I just made a video on my vlog channel. I have a cartoon channel, and then I have a vlog channel called L Vlogs, where I just made a video about my ADD and how like frustrating it is to have. I have ADD, like a form of it where I can't focus. That's why I ramble and don't shut up.
Same. I always say I work on everything until nothing gets done.
Perfectionism, that is the absolute devil. Like that's my problem, is I don't stop working on something until I feel like it's perfect, but it's never going to be perfect. Nothing's ever perfect.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Well,
you struggle with that.
But to play devil's advocate here, you've got a pretty prolific YouTube channel. So at some point, you're calling it done. What's going on here?
I've never finished a video and said like this is perfect. All my videos to me are all unfinished, you know, like, and they're like animatic form, you know. Obviously I can't make like a super nice video in like 2 weeks that I want to put all this like beautiful animation in it and stuff. So it's more like the storytime animation community that I'd like to say I'm in. We focus more on like the story than we do on like the beautiful pictures or like the art and stuff like that. So like, as long as we could tell a really good story and like our art is, you know, like good enough, that's all that matters, is like the story.
Do you spend more time like writing your videos and making ideas than you do animating, or like what is that kind of process like?
That's a good question. I feel like in the storytime animation community, like everyone has like their own style of videos. Like some people will write their script in like a few hours of, maybe they made like a video about like going to Disney World or something with their family, and they'll just type out like a few pages of literally what happened. And then and it's like more of a relatable like video than it is like a comedic video. But I try to make my videos funny. Like I put a lot of effort into making them like comedic, and like I want to make sure people are laughing like constantly as much as I can. So I put way more work into the story than I do with the art. Like if I have 3 weeks to make a video, I'll probably take like a week and a half to 2 weeks on the script, and which no time for the art, which is why a lot of the times I feel like the art is kind of crappy. But again, as long as like people are getting an entertaining story, I kind of try to think of it as like all these people watching my videos. If I was like, you know, if I had to get in front of a crowd and tell a story, how would I want to do that to keep everyone on the edge of their seat, or keep them entertained, or keep them like listening and laughing? And that's kind of my main focus. And then the art comes and the expressions and stuff like that. But to answer your question,
I love
that makes sense.
I love your delivery. I don't know if it's like not caring is completely the wrong word or the wrong phrase, but you're just kind of like matter of facty, like, look, I was chasing after Santa Claus, like everyone does.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I try to have like, you know, like my character is supposed to be me, but you know, I do want this element of, I kind of exaggerate some of the qualities of me. So like this kind of, I don't give a shit, kind of nonchalant, like, hey, like, you know, kind of personality part of me. I kind of exaggerate that in my videos. So when I'm telling the story, I want people to be in a mood. You know what I mean? I'm trying to like put them in a mood, and also I want them to feel my mood. And then eventually, once they watch enough of my videos, they'll be like, oh, that's so typical of Elle. Like, oh, that's so something Elle would do. And then that's how I feel like people become close with their characters, and they feel like they are friends with their characters, is when you really feel like you get to know them. So that's kind of my goal.
So Fruity YT says chasing after Santa is very normal. So real quick, I want to take a hot second to just welcome. There's Thera Roth. There's Emma Gotcha. I saw Elizabeth, one of our regulars in there. But Emma Gotcha was asking, do you have any other hobbies than drawing and animating?
Well, I mean, my favorite thing in the whole world is to develop stories and characters and just create worlds in my head. And I've been doing that for so long, and it's the only thing I ever want to do. So in, like, I think a lot of my fans know this, in 4th grade, I made up a show called Kate and Kit, and it's about this tomboy 12-year-old girl. You probably know from watching some of it. I talk about it a lot. But
I do.
This 12-year-old
I've offered up my skills for this show. I'm down.
You did? Oh, thanks. Let's do it.
Whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Oh my God. I did not know that. Now, don't even say that. I'm going to take you up on that. But, you know, Kate and Kid is like my dream. It's about a 12-year-old tomboy and her talking kitty. And the reason I love the show is because the chemistry between the two characters. I love shows that are more about, not the plot, but more about the character chemistry. And
Sure.
it can be the dumbest plot. It could be like two kids at a playground. That's the whole show. But if you have like the personalities of the characters, if they're lovable and they're like relatable and they're just fun, and you know someone like that or whatever, if you can have chemistry between two characters, any show could be fun to watch. I mean, that's why a lot of people say their favorite episode of SpongeBob is the pizza delivery episode with SpongeBob and Squidward. It's like the two characters that have the most like opposite personalities. It is so fun to watch that kind of chemistry, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where he's like, Krusty Krab pizza, and Squidward's like, no, shut up.
For sure.
Nothing funnier than that kind of chemistry. So that's kind of the same chemistry Kate and Kit have. Kate is like the SpongeBob, and Kit, Kit the kitten is like the SpongeBob, and Kate is like the Squidward. And it's just super fun to work on. And honestly, like, that's my hobby, is like when I'm not making YouTube videos, I'm just creating stories, doodling stories, comics of Kate and Kit. And obviously I like to, like, you know, bike ride and hang out with friends and stuff, but Kate and Kit is kind of my thing.
That's awesome. We got another question from, where did it go? Fruity YT. It says, so here's my question. How do you pick your favorite song? Like, when you're listening to a song, how do you determine if you either like it or it's your favorite?
A song? Well, I guess, geez, now I'm going to put my music hat on. I guess, I mean, I like music, first of all. Obviously, like, if you're going to get my head going like this, it's a good song. All right. If I'm just naturally going to start bobbing my head or tapping my foot, like, I'm going to give it a chance. But personally, I mean, I like all different kinds of music, but anything that's a little catchy will still my heart. Catchy stuff. What about you guys?
Kind of the same. I think you summed it up for me. I don't know that I can like be like, that's my favorite song. I feel like that takes a little time to, like, you know, sink in. And
Yeah.
For me, it just depends on who's driving the train. You know what I mean? Like, my brain is just like, sometimes I'm all in on R&B, sometimes I can't get enough of hip hop, and sometimes I'm just country all weekend long. It's weird for me. I'm all over the place. But how do you go through the process of finding music for your cartoons?
That's true. That's kind of hard because, you know, YouTube's all they're strict, obviously, with the types of music you use and stuff. You can't just throw whatever songs you want in there. You have to make sure that they're like legally free and copyright free. So I go on YouTube Music. It's a channel where YouTube provides you a library of music for free that you can use on your videos. And that's actually one of the most frustrating parts of my video making process is finding music. So hard because there's not, at least I can't find any good options. Especially for my types of videos, I kind of just want like a generic kind of background video, like song that'll like just like, you know, shut off the dead air, something subtle. And I swear everything's like club music or like just techno and like how it doesn't. So I mean, if anyone has any advice on music, I wish I had, you know, the money to hire somebody to like just make music for me. That would be the freaking dream. Oh my God.
I'll send you a link. I use Epidemic Sound, and I can send you a link. I don't know if you would get any discount or whatever, but I'll do that for you.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's I don't pay for music, so I really should because there's probably good music if you pay.
Yeah. Yes. And the same thing with YouTube too. The music on YouTube, they have different I guess price ranges. So you can get the free stuff, but then you can also, like, if you pay a little bit, you get the more premium stuff that people think is better. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a question from one of our regular hosts, Charlie B. Williams III, and he's asking, what's your process? What do you use to create your art? How long does it normally take? Thank you for the question, Charles.
Thanks, Charles. Okay. So I'll start with like what I use, all the programs I use and stuff. So I used to work at Titmouse Inc. and it's an animation studio. They have one in New York, they have one in LA, and they also have one in Vancouver. And I was located at the New York base for 4 years before I'd started YouTube. And I was a production coordinator there. So I kind of just took their way of making cartoons and started doing what they do because I felt it was the best method out of the studios I've worked at. They use pretty much all the Adobe Suite programs that they have. So they'll use Photoshop for backgrounds. They'll use like Adobe Premiere for editing, like the audio mix and stuff. Then they'll use Adobe Animate for the animation. And they'll bring the Adobe Animate Swift into After Effects. And then they'll do the post stuff there. And that's kind of basically it. That's usually what I do. I've kind of been just using Adobe Animate for backgrounds lately. I used to have a background artist. Over the summer, my views were like ridiculous for some reason. I don't know. Sometimes the algorithm like is your best friend, and sometimes the algorithm hates you. So over the summer, the algorithm wanted to be like best friends with me. I don't know why. So I had enough money to afford a background artist, which was freaking amazing because I hate doing backgrounds. Backgrounds is not anything not story. Like technically backgrounds can be story related if you're thinking about it, but anything that's not like character development is boring for me. So I really hate backgrounds. So I kind of just
sorry, Charlie.
Sorry, Charlie. Are you a background artist?
He is.
Yeah, he's an environmental artist. Yeah.
No, can I say I love backgrounds. I don't like doing them, but I love watching people do that.
Well, he doesn't like doing characters, so you know.
Okay, there you go. It's funny because like when I worked at Titmouse, like when I had free time, I would literally just go into the background artists section and just watch them, and they would be like, "Lauren, don't you have something better to do?"
Get out of here. We're trying to work.
Like, stop hovering over me. I'm trying to like do my job, unlike you.
Can you talk super briefly about being on the production side? Because that's like, I know for a lot of folks, that's kind of the entry into the industry, and it doesn't really get talked about that much. Like, production's so like kind of ignored half the time, but it's so important.
100%. It totally should get talked about more, because it is one of the biggest ways to get your foot in the door if you're, maybe your art skills aren't, totally ready for the studio yet. If you like, I'm not saying become a PA or a production assistant just to become an artist. Definitely don't do that. There's been people that have said during interviews, because as a production coordinator, we used to interview people for jobs and stuff, and they would say, I only want to be a PA because I want to be a background artist. I'm like, okay, next. Like, we want someone that's going to be focused on your actual job and excited to do your actual job. But if you're somebody that just like loves and appreciates the whole process of making cartoons, and that's why you want to be a PA, and then eventually would like to work your way into art, that's cool. Like understanding that is fine. So it is a really good way to learn. I was one of those people actually that my goal was to eventually be an artist. So I became a PA because I was just loved the whole process so much. I wanted to learn every single like aspect about making cartoons. And I ended up falling in love with production and not wanting to be an artist anymore.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I loved it. And the thing is, like, I still love production. It's like, basically, as a production assistant, I'm sure all studios are different with what responsibilities they give you. But at Titmouse, we have our animators and pretty much all of our artists in-house. So I know, like, at Nickelodeon and stuff, a lot of the animation is sent overseas and stuff to, it's just the way it is. Titmouse, we actually have our animators in-house. So I would be basically overseeing every single animator, making sure that they're on track and stuff like that. And it was really fun to work closely with them. But other like tasks you'd be doing is like a lot of tedious stuff that, you'd kind of just be assisting the director with little tasks that they need, going around to the artists and seeing if they need you to find them anything, stuff like that. And then when you move into like the coordinator position, your eyes are kind of more on the production schedule itself and kind of making sure that things are on track and just preparing for things before they happen, seeing the weeks ahead. So it's just basically you're kind of doing everything except drawing on the art, which is still really, really fun. But my like goals, like my end goal is to be a show creator and a director too one day. And I feel like as being in production for 4 years, I wasn't getting to my end goal. I was kind of just stuck at, I kind of did what I needed to do. I learned how to make cartoons. I learned about budgets and like all of that stuff. And now I kind of jumped onto the YouTube world, because now I'm kind of like learning a whole new set of tasks by doing this. But yeah, I don't know. Is there any like thing specific I should talk about with production?
No, that was a great overview, I think, for folks who don't really know what happens in production. I think that was great.
And I do think also I wanted to add that, for some reason people don't think that production is as sexy as being an artist or whatever, but you can kill the game in going the production route. There's if you're passionate about making cartoons, you can go in the production way and then just exactly what you did. You learned how to do the process, and now you're killing the game.
I can't tell you how many people I know started out as a production assistant, or started out like, I know when I was at Nickelodeon in 2012, there was a mailroom. I'm sure there's still a mailroom, but started out in the mailroom and are now storyboard artists. I mean, you can really, over the years, you can work your way up because as a production person, you have access to the server and you have access to all of the storyboards. You have access to all of the background sketches, all of the, you're in every meeting. I used to sit in meetings, take notes for the artists, take notes for the directors, and end up, typing those notes, putting them on. You're taking notes, you're learning. Mm-hmm. The best part about being in production for me was to be in those meetings and listen to the art directors give, feedback live to the artists. Because we would work on shows like LA shows. So we would Skype with LA and then we would put the art like on the screen and then the director would say out loud, like, what his notes are. And I would have to type those notes. So I'm learning at the same time as these guys are learning. Just because I didn't make the original drawing doesn't mean I don't get the knowledge. So you can become a better artist as a PA just by observing.
Right.
I have a question. That is kind of contradictory to your previous point as far as like being a production coordinator and interviewing PAs. And I'm interested in being a PA, but I also would like to be an artist. So do you have any advice on how to like answer that question correctly?
So how to lie to get the job you want?
It's like, here's the thing. I just want to say a really funny story real quick. So in 2012, I was an intern at Nickelodeon, and during the internship, the coordinator met with me and like wanted to know my goals and my dreams. And I'm like, I want to be a show creator. I was, very, I didn't know anything about the industry yet. And I'm like, I want to be a show creator. I want to be a creator. Right. So she's like, so what are your steps in your plan to get to that? She's like, I'm like, I'll probably just become a PA just to kind of get my foot in the door. Basically, I answered it very poorly. I think it's more about like, and they told me, Lauren, do not say that during an interview. Like, do not say that. They were mentoring me and teaching me and they kind of explained to me, like, there's a way to say that. Like, a lot of people become PAs to get into the art world, but there is a way to say it. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're lying, like, I'm sure you're really interested in the whole process. And as, an artist, like you can learn, like I said, you can learn so much being in production just by observing everybody else's stuff and sitting in those meetings. So I guess I would say something along the lines of, I'm just in love with the animation process. I want as much, knowledge as I possibly can from that. I think the best way to gain that knowledge is to start, be involved with the production pipeline as much as possible, observe the artist during meetings, take notes for the artist, and kind of just ramble off things that PAs do and say, like, I feel like I can, gain more knowledge in the industry by doing these things that PAs do, kind of along the lines of that. And I guess, like, you can absolutely say that you love to draw and stuff like that, but you would want to focus your answers on whatever you're being interviewed for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that made any sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. Like, it makes sense. And, I think that's what most people probably would say is like focus on what they are asking applicants, what the actual job is, and just make sure that your focus is on that, as opposed to maybe where you want to be in a few years.
Yeah. It's tricky though. Like, it's tricky because, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be an artist eventually, but as long as you're putting emphasis on wanting to learn the things that PAs do, like, more.
Yeah.
I want to take a second to acknowledge the fact that If you've watched any one of the probably last few shows on Sketch Zone, you know that we talk about young artists who, how you say, things didn't work out the way that they wanted to, so they shit all over the industry. This is exactly the example that I've been trying to illustrate. Pun not intended, but that I wanted to illustrate when we have the conversations about what do you do if say your career isn't going the way that you want it to. Learn is exactly the way that you do. You go in there, you learn as much as possible, and if you want to be a showrunner, you create your own damn show. Instead of, you know, we've seen some videos where young artists said, I didn't get my way and I'm tired of waiting, and they shit all over the entire animation industry. You know, I want to applaud you for exactly what you're doing. This is like, I'm a fan of yours on so many different levels, and this is one of the reasons why. You wanted to be a showrunner, so you went and you learned how to run a show, and now you're literally running a show, your own damn show. That's huge.
That means a lot to me. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. I agree, actually. I know people too that are like, screw this company. They're not giving me my shot. I've pitched to them twice. They're turning me down. It's like, you know, to me, I'm like, my brain is like a problem solving brain. That's why I think I love production so much, is because I'm not the type of person to say, well, we're screwed. You know, I'm the type of person to be like, okay, what's plan B? Okay, what's plan C? Okay, what's it? Like, I'm always trying to solve the problem. And I realized after 4 years of production that my career was becoming, like, I was on the route to a producer. Like, I don't want to be a producer. I was on the career of like budgets and schedules forever. Yeah. And that's what you are. That's the path you're on when you're becoming a PA, to a coordinator, to a production manager, to, you know, and that's an awesome job, but that's not what my end goal is. Sure. So when I realized I learned everything I wanted to learn for what I want to do for my end goal, that's when I knew it was time to leave. But I knew that, you know, I actually, you know, my, like, some of my videos were like, you know, taken, you know, people at, you know, Titmouse and stuff, they like really were impressed by some of my YouTube videos. I have like earlier YouTube videos that are more like adult stuff that are like not my character animating it, but I don't know if you've seen it, but I have like a series on my YouTube channel called, geez, God, I haven't worked on it in like 2 years, but it's of me animating my family. I used to record conversations of my family, and my dad's like this Italian, like he's like Tony Soprano basically, and then like my grandma's like 100 years old. And I used to record conversations of them. So there's something at Titmouse called 5 Second Day, where once a year they shut down every studio, all the Titmouse studios, and all the employees just are allowed to work on their own like short. It's the coolest thing ever. Yeah, and they like order you pizza, and it's like literally the funnest day of the year. So I made a short. I made a short of my dad and my grandma. I recorded them when they didn't know it, which I think is like illegal. So I probably shouldn't be saying it. I recorded them, and they were playing with the Alexa. 2 years ago, Alexa was like the new thing. Yeah. And my dad's like, Alexa, you son of a bitch, and like was like banging Alexa. So I made my 5 Second Day cartoon out of that. And because I was a coordinator, like a lot of the directors and stuff, they didn't know I could do something like that. And they're like, I didn't know you could make animations like that. So they kind of gave me a lot, like the confidence boost I needed to leave, actually, to do YouTube. But, you know, that's kind of like what I'm trying to say is you can't just rely on one plan A. You have to have like, if this doesn't work out, then what do I do next? If that doesn't work out, what do I do next? But it all ultimately boils down to like, you have to convince yourself that you're good, that you can do it, and that you're good enough, and your stuff is good enough. As long as you really truly believe in yourself, like anything's honestly possible. It really, I know it sounds so corny, but it's so true.
But no, it's very true. Like if you're making, you know, if you're a comedian, if you're making films, if you're making animation, if you're knitting, all you have to do, there's people that want to take in what you're making. You just have to find them. Granted, you might not have like Star Wars followers, but be happy with the little bit that you do have. And you just never know. Like, I would rather have 100 incredibly passionate fans than 1,000 that just kind of might check out my stuff every once in a while.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And I don't know if you guys ever watch like Gary Vee, or I don't know what you guys think about Gary Vee and stuff.
Yeah.
But I watch a lot of like Gary Vee, and like he kind of pumps me up to like not make excuses and stuff like that. And
oh yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna. I was like fully on board with what you were saying. Don't listen to Gary Vee if you want to sit on the couch, because it's not going to happen. Like Gary Vee will get you. And is it just me? Does he like get on YouTube and tell you to get your lazy ass off the couch? Like,
yeah, oh, he's the best. I love that attitude so much. He is literally what pushed me to quit my job. He is literally what pushed me to quit, because it was really scary. I mean, that was my income. It was my only income. And I was downgrading to a job that paid me, like I literally quit my job in December 2018 at Titmouse, you know, my only income. And before I quit, I got a part-time job. I made sure like I was going to be able to pay my bills somehow. So I got a part-time job as a lifeguard. I used to lifeguard in college and in high school and stuff. So I had to.
There's a video on that too.
Yeah, I love lifeguard. The lifeguard one's great.
But like, you know, I had to get my lifeguard certification again. So one of those weekends, I had to go in. I had to swim like 50 laps. I had to jump to the bottom of the pool, get a brick. Like I had a whole weekend of training to be a lifeguard. I got my lifeguard certification. I got the job, and basically they said, you know, you could start, you know, this day and you can work this many hours. And that was going to be just enough to pay my bills, like barely pay my bills. So I put in my 2 weeks at, you know, Titmouse, and I was like, I'm quitting to be a lifeguard for $7 an hour. And no, it was like, I think it was like $10 an hour or something. So basically I took this giant risk of quitting my career job to be a part-time lifeguard. And that was going to be my hustle, like lifeguarding in the morning, doing YouTube at night, lifeguarding in the morning, doing YouTube at night. And then from January to June, I wasn't getting any money from YouTube, zero. I mean, like $1 a month, maybe. So I had to just hustle and put out videos every month. And my goal was like, okay, how can I make this happen? How can I blow up? Like, and I learned about how, you know, the little tricks with the algorithm. Like if you, when you post a video, if you get a lot of traffic onto that video right when you post it, that triggers the algorithm to want to share your video more. So that's why we all as YouTubers encourage our subscribers to press the bell, like the notification bell when you subscribe. Right. Because if they watch my video right when I post it, I'm going to get a better response than if they watch it like 2 days later. Yeah. So I was trying to think like, okay, if I collabed with a big YouTuber and I asked that person to give me a shout out right when I posted my video, I should be able to possibly get a lot of views at one time. And I started like just strategically coming up with all these like ideas. And so that's exactly what I did. I joined a YouTube named Tim. He's really big. He's over 1 million subscribers. He's an animation, Storytime animation community too. And I joined his Patreon, which was like $120 a month, which is like money I did not have at all. My savings was burning away. But I knew if I joined his Patreon, I would have to get his attention. Like he'll have to notice me if I'm paying him $120 a month. So after a few months, because he like didn't really check his Patreon. So after a couple of months, he didn't get back to me. I'm like, holy shit, I'm spending a lot of money on this, and I need to get noticed. I'm like, hello. So then he after the third month, he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that you were my Patreon. So anyway, what happened was he's like, I'm so sorry. How can I make it up to you? He's like, how about this? I'll give you a shout out at the end of my next video. And I was like, wow, like that's like one of the nicest things you can do as a big YouTuber. Because if you're giving a shout out is one of the best things you can get when you have 1 million something subscribers. So I said, how about you give me a shout out at the same time as I post my next video? And that like literally, that's exactly what he did. And that's exactly how it all happened for me. Thanks to Tim Thompson. Yeah. The algorithm like exploded after that. Yeah.
And what's cool is I don't know what it is about the art community, just kind of in general, where there's this mine mentality, right?
Yeah.
There's enough out here for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, and doing something like that, like getting a shout out that's going to change your life, like why wouldn't you do that?
I agree. And that's what me and Tim Tom were talking about afterwards, because now we're friends. And I said to him, like, dude, you changed my life. This is my career now. Like in a month, this became my career because of him. And he said that actually it helped his channel, because apparently another trick that is if you say, go check out this channel, if you're watching a YouTube video and they say, also go check out this channel, and you as a viewer click on that channel, you get rewarded as the person who done that channel. Yeah. So that video that he shouted me out on actually did extremely, I think he has like almost 5 million views on it or something. Like it did extremely well. Because so
it's a good thing that he met you. You changed his life.
Oh no! Like my point is, if we can help each other out by like him helping me out, helped him out. So it's like I don't know why we all don't give each other more shout outs and stuff. I feel like I'm all for it. I'm all for stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. Which leads me to a very good question from. Hang on, let me switch this up. From Chris, and sorry, Chris, I know you posted this a long time ago, but it reads, what inspired you to do animation, and who was your biggest support for your passion?
What inspired me to do animation? I mean, just like I said, like my biggest passion is just creating characters, creating their personalities, creating the chemistry. I almost feel like, is there a job in the industry that's like a specialist of like character development specialist or something? I feel like there should be like a job where you specialize in like just like creating each character personality. It's like that's my favorite thing in the world. It's like for example, like, so I guess to answer that question is like, Hey Arnold was one of the biggest inspirations to me.
Nice.
And the reason why I loved that show, I grew up on it, and the reason why I love that show is because if you notice how smart the writers are, they don't just make an episode about like just Arnold. Like they have episodes about even like the like secondary characters, the third, the character, every single person in Arnold's class has their own dedicated episode. So what I feel like is so awesome about that is you get to fall in love with every single character. Like, I don't know if whoever watches Hey Arnold or whatever, but like Eugene has his own episode about being a jinx. And Harold has his own episode about being the fat boy or whatever. And, even like, I even forgot their names, but that bug girl, the girl with the braids, and she has her own episode. And like Rhonda has her own episode about being the rich girl, like gets poor. And like, anyway, every single character has a background and a reason to root for them. And a reason to kind of, I guess, if you like the show, like if you don't like Arnold, you'll like somebody, you'll have to watch the show. So the amount of character development in that show, like, is so inspiring to me. You just fall in love with every single one of those characters because they all have a story and you get to know every single one of them. So I guess like all the 90s cartoons is what made me want to make cartoons. And that's why in 4th grade, I created and developed Kate and Kitten. I still do to this day, is because of Nickelodeon. Like, I have a crush on Nickelodeon, like, since I was a kid. So pretty much, I think that answers.
I like it. And I've been dying to get to this question because this one is a really good one. So Mac is asking, M-A-C-C is asking, what is a video idea? Actually, let me add that up there. There you go. What is a video idea you have but are worried to do either because you think your fans won't like it or you think it's risky?
Yeah.
That's such a good question. Man, I have so many video ideas in a folder in my closet that I could like read off, but honestly, one of my flaws is that I overthink everything. So I will think, I'll think of an idea for a video and then I'll think, oh, but that's not funny. Oh, that's not relatable enough. Or, well, like I'll just pick it apart. And the truth is, like, I can honestly make a video out of anything and it could be a good video. But I guess like a few, I can't think of any on the top of my head. I would have to like get my papers, but I guess like I really love like stories where you learn a lesson at the end. Like that's like art is like the Hey Arnold types of stuff, right? Like the dumb Hey Arnold stuff. So I love like cartoons where you learn a lesson and stuff. So like. And I also love, like, personally, like, I love reading a lot of self-help books and, like, I don't know, I love, like, growth, right? So I feel like I'm scared sometimes. I feel like my subscribers are more interested in, like, funny, exciting stories, and they don't really care about, like, learning a lesson or, like, I don't know. I feel like they don't care about, like, learning, like, I don't know. I guess I'm scared of doing something where if I was to make a video about like habits or something and like kind of give them a little knowledge on like, because I just recently listened to this audiobook called, it's really popular. It's like The Power of Habits or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's super long. Oh my God, it was like 12 hours or something. But it's so interesting. And I wish I could make a YouTube video just teaching people about habits. But I feel like people are going to be bored. And I just know that it's not going to get a lot of views. Like, the stuff that gets a lot of views are, like, my crazy neighbor broke into my house. Or, like, stuff like that with, like, a flashy thumbnail. And I totally get that. Like, to be honest, I'd probably click on that over the habits thing, too. But, yeah, like
you'd have to glamorize it, right? You'd have to be like, these are the habits that set me on fire. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah. You're right. I would have to kind of come up with a title like my habits caused my grandma to fall. I don't know. God forbid. Oh my God. I don't know what I'm saying, but like something that's like, oh my God, like. But I don't know, one day I'd love to make maybe a separate channel of just teaching people stuff, like about things that I learn in books, like habits, and I don't know. No. So I feel like my channel now is more for like crazy, like exciting stories.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but I feel like in your style and stuff, I would totally watch a habit video done in your kind of story time style.
Thanks. Oh, that gives me hope. Maybe I will.
Yeah.
I really want to make a habits video. I'm dying because I'm so inspired by that book.
Especially with her delivery, she'd be like, "Look."
I think it'd be hilarious. Yes.
Thanks. All right,
Yeah,
fine.
if you made it like funny as well as,
Yeah.
entertaining, that's probably a pretty good mix.
Yeah, that's the challenge. Is that I have to make it funny and entertaining. Exactly.
You'd just be like, "Look, I used to bite my nails, and then I caught the Rona."
Jeez.
I
Too
love
soon.
like all the YouTubers are taking like there's so many YouTube videos that pop up that says like I have corona, and then it's like their thumbnail is like really scared and like and it's
they're
like
cold and shivering.
it's like I love like how dedicated YouTubers are. Even if they got corona, they're still sitting down and taking a video, taking a thumbnail, and like editing the thumbnail. It's like YouTubers are ruthless. Like it's crazy.
I got Corona and a Tesla. Like,
Oh, man.
I was checking to see, like, Fruit YT. Fruit YT is just hell bent on figuring out what your favorite fruit is. He's asked that.
Oh.
I'm assuming but they've been asking that question for about 25 posts. What's your favorite fruit?
Dude, one time in one of my streams or whatever, I had somebody's username was I love Chili's or like something like welcome to Chili's. And they're like, what's your favorite food from Chili's? Or like Chili's chili. I'm like, I was like, is this like an employee from Chili's? Like, my favorite fruit. Shoot, I love fruit. I would have to say pineapple. I love pineapple.
Nice.
I don't like
Pineapple's
them.
good.
Like,
How about you guys? What's you guys' favorite fruit?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Banana.
yeah.
What was I? Oh, I was watching. If you guys haven't seen it on Amazon, there is this show that's. I have no idea how to describe it. It's like uncomfortably comfortable. It's called, what's it called? It has Maya Rudolph and Fred Armisen. It's called Life or something like that.
Oh, yes. The Afterlife one. What is that called? Yeah.
Whatever that is. They, just last night, I watched the finale. They came up with Forever. They came up with the most mind-blowingest fact that I've probably ever. So the conversation that they were having on the show is, what's the perfect beach food? Literally anything you eat is going to have sand in it. It's just how bad of sand are you going to have? They came up with the fact that banana is the perfect beach food because it's good for you. And it has its own wrapper, so when you open it, you eat it, and you don't get any sand on the banana, and it's biodegradable.
Wow.
Functionally speaking, banana's right there. Hey, Joey. Joey Wall is in the house. Hello, Joey's from England, so we've officially gone international.
What up, Joe? I still feel like I would have a sub on the beach. I'm sorry. I'm not having a
Nice
fucking banana on the beach.
A sandwich?
I want a sandwich on the beach. I don't care if there's sand in my sandwich.
I'm all for that. I like a good sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind. And there's no beating like having actual seafood on the beach. That shit is
True.
For real. I'm trying to make sure that we got
There was a good one, and it sort of runs on the tails of, making videos that might be risky or offending fans or whatever. But there was a good one that was asking about the COPPA laws. Have those affected you, and kind of like what do you think about that in general, because I don't know if it has affected you because your content's a little different, but they've been lumping cartoons into one category.
Yeah, that was terrifying when we found that out, like maybe like 4 months ago or whatever. When we first found that out, I'm like, all right, I guess I have to start looking for jobs because I'm screwed. But it ended up being that I just said my channel was not for kids, which, you know, it is frustrating because, like, you know, it's so black and white the way they set it up. So
yeah,
I mean, it isn't for, you know, technically it's for all ages. I mean, I don't know. I just said not for kids, and so did basically a lot more people. But I think their goal was to shut down the like super preschool types of channels. I think my channel is not the types of channels they really cared about.
Sure.
And especially because I'm, you know, irrelevant to them, like the amount of subscribers I have and stuff. Like I think they're looking at like the toy review channels that have like 38 million subscribers, and they're making freaking millions of dollars. So like all those channels for like preschool types of channels, they're all screwed. I feel really bad for them. But anything that's like basically for like 12 to 13-year-olds and up is fine. But anything that's like clearly for children, like babies, yeah, they all had to put that their channels for kids. We're good, Carlos. We can go longer.
Okay.
They all put that their channels for kids, and if you put your channels for kids, you can't have any all your comments are disabled.
Yeah.
Basically, anything that like the algorithm helps you with is like disabled, so you're not going to get like traffic or ads on your videos anymore. So I feel really bad for a lot of those channels, but I'm safe so far as long as the government doesn't start getting even stricter.
Right. I started freaking out because I started wanting to focus on my own channel too, and then like right when I started making the cartoons, they're like, oh, hey, COPPA rules. And I was like, oh, man. So I made a animated rap song where I'm talking about my channel's not for kids and all kinds of stuff. So,
That's amazing.
which is funny because I'm also working on a hip hop documentary for Chicago-based hip hop, the culture from Chicago. Anyway. So then when that video came out, there was a bunch of people, a bunch of rappers from Chicago were like, yo, loved it. Where's mine? And all this other, I was like, write a check.
That's awesome.
I was nervous. I released it and I started getting phone calls that morning like, yo, what did you just do? I was like, does it suck? Did I ruin anything? They're like, no, this is hilarious. So I just wanted to, I did that because I didn't want any confusion, right? It's cool. I love making content. I love doing this show, but it costs a lot of money to do this stuff and it takes a lot of time. So like, I was like, here's a cartoon that says my stuff is not for kids. So handle it. Like, I don't want any confusion. And at the same time, I also don't want kids to, I do also do my part of shielding kids. Cause I have some prank calls on there where, this dude with the radio show, he does these questionable prank calls. And so I was animating those and I didn't want kids to come and check out that because it was looking attractive because of the cartoons and stuff like that. And I was like, I get it. I understand. I'll do my part, but you're not going to pull the rug out from under me from trying to be a fucking YouTuber.
Right. Yeah. It's confusing, but also, if you notice, like Cartoon Network and stuff, like they have YouTube channels and they have little clips of like the Powerpuff Girls and whatever. That's all it's for kids. So they're not they're no longer getting paid, for their stuff, which is like, I think those are more of the stuff that the government's targeting, to be honest. I think people that are making their own cartoons are, I don't want to say they're safe, but they seem to be more safe right now than, the big production types of little preschool ones. But
the thing that really stinks though is like all those guys that are so well established and have amassed these followings, like they're kind of grandfathered in. Like, yeah, although you may have to like restrict now you're for kids, you still have that following of millions of people, and you're featured on YouTube Kids or whatever. But it's like someone new who's trying to break in, like you don't have access to all of that algorithm stuff, all the followers, all the like comment fields that the prior generation of content producers had. And it's like, how, like, they're just crippling anybody who's trying to get started.
Yeah, I know. I feel really bad for them. Like that's just so true. And it really sucks. Like it's this big bomb that kind of like hit everybody out of nowhere. And anyone that was like thinking about starting, unfortunately, like if they didn't start before all this, like it's going to be even harder now. It sucks.
And then we got a comment in here from I'm assuming it's CAF, and they said, "LOL, I'm 12."
Exactly.
Well,
and I love it. I love how like the people that are like young, like 9 and 12, like they always love to say their age. They love to say, "I'm 12" or "I'm 8." Just stop saying your age. I love it. I love how like they have. Hey, YouTube, I'm 8. I wanted to ask before I forget, because Landon, what kind of art do you want to do, or do you do already? I don't know if I know what you do.
Well, I'm trying to get into storyboarding, so I'm working on storyboard projects that I'm, like writing myself and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been trying to like get into like a PA job or something. And, I live out in Los Angeles now, but I used to live in Connecticut, actually. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
That's cool. What do you do to get better at storyboarding? I'm sure these guys would want to know too, and I would too. Like, what kind of stuff do you do to get better at it?
I mean, yeah, basically, that's honestly, kind of stuff like you said, like, having a community of people that you can talk to and ask questions and get feedback for. I certainly take advantage of Jack's kindness in helping with my projects. So just like trying to do that. Just getting feedback from people, honestly, is the biggest thing, and trying to interact with people online that are good artists, storyboard artists, and trying to maybe ask them questions.
I would just want to add to that, like, because obviously I kind of came up from more like the animation side, so it's only fairly recently I've been doing like boarding and directing. But I think one of the important things to remember is like you can learn a lot about like acting and animation and all that stuff just from watching like movies and shorts and stuff. But storyboard's not so much, because that's not the final image. That's not what you finally see. So you have to do a little bit of extra research to like really understand what goes into a good storyboard. But you can find so many like examples on YouTube, and obviously go and Google people's demo reels and stuff. There's a lot out there, but you do have to actively look for boarding and animatic examples.
Yeah. It's kind of difficult though, because honestly, a lot of storyboard artists have all of their stuff hidden behind password protected sites, or it's just they just don't have a site publicly available, or they have a public site and a private site. And there is stuff out there, but I do kind of wish that it was, I don't know, easier to find and more available.
Yeah, I know. Like one thing that I try to do is like I studied like I would watch like The Incredibles like a lot, like over and over again, and kind of like pause. Like there's so many like cinematic shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think there's literally this website. I forgot what website it was. But there's a website that like took like still frames of The Incredibles and showed like explained what each shot is. I had to find it. One of my friends sent me like a really, really, really good site. I'll shoot it to you if you don't already know what it is. But
yeah, I don't know what it is, but that would be nice to know.
Storyboarding is so complex. I feel like I don't know.
Do you do storyboards for your videos and stuff, or do you just straight ahead?
I never kind of explained my process. So like, since I only have like a couple of weeks to do the art on a video, I don't really do like super nice storyboards. I kind of do like quick rough thumbs. And I'll usually I like thumbing on paper more than I do on my Cintiq. So usually I'll like type out a script or whatever, or I'll type things as, first I'll start with a whole bunch of like bullet points of thoughts. And then I'll kind of like put the bullet points in order, and I'll elaborate the bullet points. And then eventually I'll trim it down, and I'll use my iTalk app on my phone and like record a straight through and just time it and see how long it is. 'Cause I really try to keep my videos to like 4 minutes, or if it goes over 4 minutes, I'm screwed, because it's just like there's no time to animate that many frames in that many weeks. So I try really hard to trim it down, and then I'll kind of just like if I'm thumbing on paper, I'll just like scan it in and crop the thumbs and put it in Premiere and just kind of like have it as a guide with my mix. Like I'll end up recording like a final version of the script. I'll edit it, and then I'll have an animatic essentially with like really, really rough storyboards or thumbs or whatever. And then I'll use that animatic and I'll put it in Adobe Animate at like the side. And I got this from Titmouse, by the way. This isn't like my genius idea. That's kind of what
this is gold.
Oh,
oh yeah.
I can talk stuff all day. But yeah, like that's what they do is once they have the animatic, they'll put the animatic in Animate and they'll have it as reference in there. So they'll have like, I'll kind of just follow the animatic and like make symbols, and I have like my whole little process in Animate, and then after that I'll bring it into After Effects and stuff. But I don't know. I forgot like what I was even talking about.
Your process. You were going from you created the mix, the audio mix in Premiere, and then you created the animatic, which then you brought into Animate, and then you animated, and then you bring that into either Premiere or After Effects to edit.
I do the cameras and stuff actually in After Effects too.
Oh,
I don't know. Yeah, there's a camera feature in Adobe Animate, but I've been like too lazy to figure out how to learn it.
It's not if you know the cameras in After Effects, use those. The camera is cool in Animate, but it's not as refined as After Effects. So, yeah, your process works. It's keep doing that. The same thing with I did a tutorial on doing lip syncing in Animate, and people were commenting. What's funny is you used the automatic lip sync, but then you went back and did the manual lip sync anyway. And I'm like, yeah, but because it comes out better. There's tools in Animate that are fine, but like they're better in After Effects. They're better in Photoshop. They're better in Premiere,
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say like before I go or whatever, because I gotta go in like a few minutes or whatever. But Jack, if you have any like knowledge on being a director that you want to share with all of us right now, I'd love to hear the whole day. Like,
yeah, for sure. I mean, I was surprised even having been in the industry for a pretty long time. I've been doing animation professionally for over 15 years, and I think everybody has kind of a misconception about what being a director is. The kind of behind the scenes footage and the stories you always hear, and like, the special features always kind of show the director as this kind of like, Steven Spielberg mastermind. And that's somewhat true in like live action feature and commercial work, but in animation, it's like a totally different beast. I think people think you're just sitting in the director chair telling people what to do, and that's really not at all what happens. Being a director for animation is a lot more drawing. It's a lot more, you need to really understand film language, because you have your team of storyboard artists and your production folks and your revisionists and doing a lot of the legwork for you, but you still have to come in with the vision of like how you want this episode or this short or this feature to be paced. It's a lot about like pacing and acting notes, and I mean a lot of the same things that like a featured director would do, but it's all focused on like the drawings on the page or on the monitor, right? Which is a totally different mindset and beast that I think people don't really connect two and two. And then I think the thing that was like most surprising, I mean, everybody likes to think like, hey, director's like kind of at the top aside from like showrunner, but that's very not true. I mean, there's so many other people with their input, executives, showrunners, producers. So you're still fielding a lot of notes, right? And then you have to basically figure out how to implement those notes while still maintaining your vision and not disassembling the product so much that it's just not manageable. Like it's very easy to get a note that sounds benign and kind of simple, but then when you get in there and you're trying to implement it, you're like, man, this just destroys the scene, and I have to redo like 80 panels of boards, and it's like, okay, is that really feasible in a budget and a schedule? So a lot of it is also just like understanding, like you said, understanding production and understanding like the limitations and the requirements. So, it's like, can I solve this simply by just like cropping in and fielding off so we don't even see that thing anymore? It's like a lot of it's just like creativity and driving. You have to be the like driving force to get it to the finish line. So it's like a real big balancing act between like the creative vision and helping your artists and yourself achieve that creative vision, but also like the real intense like reality of like production. Like you're really making something that's producible. And then kind of finally that I think people don't really consider, particularly on like CG animated shows or even 2D shows, because often the story team with the director and the board artists happen before the final animation, is you have to remember, and like Landon was saying that he's struggling finding examples, the storyboard and animatic work is not the final picture. So you're creating something that is really instructional material about how to produce a final image. So it's really common that the board artists and directors get like really overly obsessed with like how good their drawings are, or like how beautiful this is. And while that's all well and good, and myself as a drawing person and an illustrator, like I get it. I want to like do beautiful drawings. At the end of the day, it's really more about clarity. You're trying to provide the most clear instruction material for your overseas studio or your in-house animator, whoever's ultimately going to be producing that shot, because they're going to get it usually without knowing all of the back history that of like the notes and where this came from and how it evolved from thumbnail on page all the way to final animatic. They don't really know any of that. All they see is this final animatic and how they're going to produce a final image. So you want to make that like as clear and concise as possible with all the necessary information. So it's I don't know if that was a lot. I don't know if that really did it, but those were the kind of the things that surprised me, because I went into it with my own, preconceived notions of like what the role was.
Yeah.
But those were that would be my way of defining it now. like after having done it.
Oh man, that was so awesome to listen to. So like, it's like when I love this stuff. I could literally talk for like days about it. But like, right, like when people think director, at least when I first thought director before I started working in the industry, I thought like they literally can do and say whatever they want goes, and like whatever. But like you don't realize there's a budget and there's like a time frame and stuff like that. And yeah, and also it's a whole different ballgame when you're working with overseas animation studios, because like I worked on a show called Ball Masters for Adult Swim. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but it's with Christy Caracas. He created Super Jail. So we were, Christy was in house with us at Titmouse and stuff, and the boards on Ball Masters like are so loose, and sometimes they'd be like almost stick figure-y because our animators are in house. So like we don't have to give them like, polished, you know, because we all know what's going on. We're all in the same meetings. But like then, you know, the studio also worked on a show called like Tots for Disney, which is like a Disney show that's like CG and stuff, where like you'd have to make the boards, you know, so much more readable and clear for the animators and the CG artists and stuff. And then, you know, there's another show that I worked on called we worked on a show called Son of Zorn for Fox. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but
I feel like I've heard of that. Son of Zorn.
Oh, I have. Like that's the one where it's like the He-Man character.
There were so many promotions for it, like everywhere. Like I feel like at least in New York City, like there were like promos all over the like subways and stuff. But like literally got canceled after one season. But it was so funny. I loved it. It was Zorn was a animated character in a live action world.
Yeah.
And anyway, we worked with an overseas studio for that. That was being animated overseas, and you know sometimes we get frames back that would literally exactly match the boards.
Oh, Jesus.
Like are so literal sometimes, like overseas, like you have to be. So anyway, it's like that ends up, you know, bringing in a whole bunch of reuse that totally, you know, makes the whole production schedule screwed up. So it's like, as a director, I didn't realize you have to worry about that shit too. So it's really cool to hear you talk about it, especially like a DreamWorks show. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really fun experience for sure. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, some of the crossovers. I've been reading the comments, and they're asking about a crossover cartoon that Elle was a part of, where you were a cloud. I remember seeing that. I just don't remember where it was.
Yeah, it's called The Weaklings. Let me get at the complete correct information so I don't screw this up. So there's an Instagram account called Animation Hustle. That's pretty. You guys might know of it.
Mm-hmm.
I did through you, and it's amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have like 62,000 followers on Instagram. This freaking sun is in my face. Hold on 1 second.
Check out the gear, y'all. You can get your own Elle cartoon sweatshirt and beanie.
Yeah, it's like, so I watched this so many times. It's like faded now. I've had it for like a year now. All right, sorry, this is really bothering me. But anyway, Animation Hustle is one of the guys that runs it. His name is Jabril, and I actually interned at Cartoon Network in 2013, and that's where I met him. And he was like one of those guys who are like, I'm gonna do this. Like he was always like, you know, on it. And of course, he's sticking to his word. He has like an Instagram account with 62,000 followers of just like posting a whole bunch of like animation tips and stuff, and just like cool animation stuff. And basically, he created a show called The Weaklings that is on YouTube. and I think if you just go on YouTube and type in the weaklings, it'll come up. But it's about basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are all characters, and they all have personalities. So like,
Nice.
yeah, like Friday's like the cool dude or whatever, and it's really, really, really unique and so fun to watch. So he had me on as a character named Cloudy Day. So I guess like I was like a cloudy day. Like every day has a character. So like even holidays, like Christmas is a character, and it has the personality of like what you think Christmas as a character would have. So Cloudy Day was kind of like a don't bother me kind of character, and he's like, you're gonna be Cloudy Day. You're perfect for that. So one of the episodes on YouTube, I am the voice of Cloudy Day.
I'm trying to find it as we speak.
That's awesome.
While I do that, I need to, before X Nugs loses his mind, I'm assuming it's a him, but where did it go? Please ask Al why she thinks Kakashi Sensei is hot.
Oh my God. Okay. X-Nugs has been in my live streams, obviously. Okay, I was being very, very silly in one of my live streams, and I was just talking about the show Naruto and how one of the Naruto characters is very attractive. That is all I have to say about that. And I was not joking. He's very attractive. Okay, I'm going to stop being silly.
That's awesome.
Thanks, X-Nugs, for embarrassing me. God.
Right. There you go. Now you can take a breath. Yeah, they asked that question a few times, and I was trying to remember to ask it, but
Emma is saying the weaklings. I think they're big on TikTok too. I think TikTok's a good way to find them.
Oh, here we go. I think I found it. Yeah, I'm gonna send it. Check that episode out. I think that's the one. I'll send it here on Skype too.
I had a quick question, Lauren. You talk about the storytelling community. I think it was
Storytime animation community.
Saying, like, where do I find this community? Is there like a Facebook group or?
Right, I need to be there.
So they have the way I talk to a lot of them is I don't know if you guys have a Discord, but a lot of them are on Discord, and they have like their own like chats and stuff in Discord that I could try to invite you guys to those chats. But if you have a Discord, that's probably the best way. But before I kind of was in the community and stuff, the way I reached out to them was I just went on like their YouTube channels and went to their about page and saw their email address and just emailed them. To be honest with you, like that's how I started conversation with them. And a lot of them are just really, really nice. And most of their messages, they mostly get flooded in like Instagram and Twitter and stuff. So like honestly, their emails aren't. I mean, I'm not everybody, but a lot of them. Their emails aren't super flooded. So they, if you ever, wanted to contact them through email, I'm sure they would see it and respond. But yeah, Discord is probably the best way to find them on there. And usually their Discord names are in the description of their videos and stuff.
Do you have like a short list of people that I don't know, also other storytellers?
Look at Landon going for the gold right now.
No, I just like.
What's your 4-digit passcode on your credit card? I'm kidding. I'm teasing.
If there's any like people that you follow that you want to shout out now, that would be cool.
Okay. She is literally hilarious. You guys would love. I mean, one of the reasons I love Scribble Juice is because she's not afraid to like curse and like just be herself and stuff. And like, you know, I curse a lot in real life, but I try to hold back when I'm on my YouTube videos, just because I know a lot of kids watch me and I don't want to, you know, set a bad example and stuff. But, you know, I'm from New Jersey and this is our culture. I throw out F-bombs all the time in real life, but I try to like, you know, be tamed a little bit more on YouTube.
Yeah.
But Scribble Juice is just like, F this, you know, like I love how she just doesn't give a shit and just but yeah, she's a really good storyteller. I love Tabs's videos. Tabs is somebody that I met in person in New York. She's a really, really good YouTuber. I think she has like 2 million subscribers. Cypher Den is also based in New York. Really adorable videos there. One of the best artists in the community, in my opinion. She can freaking draw, and she's great. Obviously, Tim Tom is great. I know everybody watches The Odd Ones Out. He's like the top of the top in the community, like the most popular one. And he's got a really, really, really good. He's got a gift for just keeping people entertained throughout his videos. It's like he's got a really good voice, and I think voice really matters too. Like, if you're going to be quiet and like, yeah, so I was walking down the street, like, people are going to click off. They're going to see a thumbnail, you know, as they're listening to you, and they're going to click on that. But if you're like, I was walking down the street and then blah, 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 and you like, you keep it flowing, you cut out the breaths and edit, and you kind of have like an up, you know, not like hyper voice, but like more of like a upbeat, like you're in front of a crowd and you're telling a story. The Odd Ones Out's really, really good at that. And he's just got really good timing, very good comedic timing, which is my favorite thing in the world. So, yeah, those are some channels. I'm probably Doots, Crystal and David. No, they changed their YouTube channel to Crystal and David. Crystal and David are one of the most underrated YouTube channels I know. Check them out. They're a couple. And they're hilarious together. Their chemistry is adorable. I love them. I'm probably forgetting a million people. Gigi, Gigi, really, really good. I can go on forever, but check them out.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's a lot of people to follow now. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever want more, just hit me up anytime.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
So where are we going with this whole thing? What is Lauren's ultimate goal? Like, besides global domination, what is Lauren? What should we be on the lookout for?
Well, I just my ultimate goal is to be somebody that can create a show, but also work as with a big team to make that show come to life. You know, I could totally just like make Kate and Kip by myself on YouTube and like put out episodes, and like if I have to resort to that one day, I will. But my dream is to have a team and collaborate with people, because it's so boring writing stories alone. It's one of the worst things ever to like just sit at my desk and write a story by myself. Like, my favorite thing to do is like sit in a writer's room and just like bounce ideas off of each other and just like crack up. So, you know, if I can one day get a small, dedicated, talented team together and create, make Kate and Kit come to life, that's my dream. Or just like creating personalities on characters and just developing characters is my favorite thing. So anything along those lines.
That's cool. Which that leads us to a very good question. I'm trying to find it. Here it is. And I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I just think that this is an interesting question. From Emma Gotcha again. She's asking, would you ever let a fan do a voice on your channel?
That's a good idea. I haven't thought of that.
That's a Patreon move right there.
Yeah,
It's true.
Right?
I have a Patreon. That is true. I do have a Patreon, which I've said on my Patreon, if anyone that's a Patreon of mine, I will record voices for them. Absolutely. So I guess I could do that. If you're my Patreon, I'll definitely let you be a voice in my cartoon.
For $120 a month, we got to get some of this money back. Just
you
kidding.
can literally join my Patreon for $1. So that's the thing. Like I wouldn't want to charge anybody too much, but it would be fun, like with or without the Patreon. It would be fun to kind of do a video where I have a fan record a voice. That would be really, really cool.
Yeah. And I wanted to jump back on the fact that, like, you're talking about working as a team and bouncing ideas off of people. Unfortunately for Jack, he's my bounce guy. So he'll get text messages at like 2:00 in the morning saying, "I'm about to change the world," and he's like, "Go to bed. You're dumb as hell."
I love that you guys have each other like to do that with. Like I don't have anybody like that. Like I don't know. I feel like that's the one thing about being a YouTuber that I miss about the working in the industry is like it's so lonely. I literally am just in an office alone all day. I mean, now I got a standing desk, so like that's like my company is like.
Oh yeah, we have twin desks.
Yeah, you have this. That's so sick. You have the same desk as me now. I feel so cool with this desk. But yeah, like it's so lonely. Like there's the fun part about making cartoons is doing it with talented people like together. So like that's one thing I really miss is I don't miss commuting from New Jersey to New York, but I definitely miss having the human interaction and just cracking jokes with people and like coming up with ideas and problem solving together and stuff. But, yeah.
I agree.
I have time for one more question. If anyone has one.
Anyone? Let me skip because I can keep going, but I want to make sure that the audience. Here's one. Blurry Face. Add to broadcast. Blurry Face says, "Can you answer this one, Al? Do you have an upcoming video? I love your cartoons and vlogs. I'm so glad I noticed your channel." Do you have an upcoming video?
Well, thanks for saying that. I do that I'm working on. That's actually why I have to go, or I would definitely stay on here for 5 more hours.
We'll have you back. We'll have you back.
I'm working on a video right now that's actually about a little girl that I used to babysit. And I love this story, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear it. And I'm also collaborating with another big YouTuber that I think you guys probably know, but I'm going to keep that a surprise.
Ooh.
And
Spoiler alert.
That YouTuber's playing the little girl that I babysat.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
It'll be a fun story.
That's super
nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up because not for anything, but hang on, let me get this out of the way. Not for anything, but I know you got to go, but I'm looking forward to all of your upcoming videos. I love them. I really do. I think they're hilarious. And it's just really cool to see
so fun
someone succeeding doing things the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Getting your hustle on and all that good stuff. So yeah, keep up the good work. It's not unnoticed.
Well, thank you for saying that, and that really means a lot to me because I really appreciate it. And like I said, like not working with people is you don't hear like nice things like that because I'm like alone all the time. So like, thanks for talking with me for these like couple of hours, guys. It was so I miss the human interaction so much. Like I'm down to come on anytime if you guys are bored and want to chat. I'm always here. And Landon, if you need any PA advice, hit me up anytime.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I will.
And Jack, I might pick your brain. I won't bother you, but I might.
No, do it. Hit me up, please.
Yeah.
I'm very glad you've been telling Carlos. You're a rad dude. Keep
try. This show is completely self-serving because of exactly what you said. Like this YouTube thing is a very lonely thing. So this is my excuse to like get out and talk because I am not.
This is the only time he talks to anyone.
Yeah. I am not the sit down and be quiet type. I'm just not. And I just love connecting and you know, talking to people, getting to know them. Because now, if we go to VidCon, we already have an established friendship, so it's not going to be awkward. Like, you know, like when you walk in, you're like, like those days need to be over. I'm not good at that.
There's nothing worse. Oh my God. Last year was my first time at VidCon and I was so awkward. I was like, hey, like I didn't know anybody yet. It was horrible. Yeah. But yes, let's please meet up this year. If VidCon actually happens, let's actually meet up for drinks or food or something. Sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. So with that being said, if people want to find you online and catch up to all your cartoons and your storytelling and all that good stuff, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on YouTube. Just type in ELL space cartoons. That's L cartoons. And you can also find me on social media where I update you guys on, you know, when my videos are coming out and all that good stuff and when I'm doing live streams. So Instagram is just L_cartoons. That's ELL_cartoons. And same with Twitter. It's ELL_cartoons. And that's pretty much it. Discord, if you want to follow me on Discord, I do like voice chats in there a lot. You can find my Discord link in the descriptions of any of my videos on YouTube.
Excellent. And again, thank you so much for taking time to come and talk to us. Like, you know, you're busy and you're hanging out and changing the world, and it's cool that you took time from that to come get cheesy with us.
Yeah, well, it's worth it. I'm also very, very bored and lonely sometimes. Like a lot of tedious work, so it's so nice to come on here and talk to like animation people. So thanks so much for having me on. I'm always down. And guys, if you're still here, please subscribe to Sketch Zone for more awesome stuff.
Yeah, girl.
And Spirit Riding, was it? Spirit
Riding Free, yes.
On
Netflix.
It's on, yeah, Netflix.
That's freaking amazing. Check out Spirit.
Yeah, my boy's crazy.
That's sick. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Landon, if people want to follow your journey on this storyboarding adventure, where can they find you?
You can find me at landonrwilson.com and Landon R. Wilson everywhere. Instagram, Twitter. Yeah. Also, if you want anything space related, alienfair.com. I have some merch up there. FAR, or FAIR, I should say, alienfair.com. Yeah.
Do you make space like alien space art and stuff on there?
Yeah, I'm just like, I do, you know, I love space and sci-fi and stuff, so I try to do some designs, you know, painting the planets and throwing them up there on t-shirts and stuff like that.
I love space stuff, so I'm checking that out after this, actually.
Awesome. Awesome.
Hey, Jack, if people are trying to find you, where can they find you?
Sketchbook Jack on mainly on Instagram, but there's a .com out there and a couple others, but mainly on Instagram.
Excellent. Thank you, sir, for also being here. And again, congratulations on the directorial.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Carlos. You can find me at coconutjustice.com, Coconut Justice everywhere else. I also have my own little Coconut Justice corner of the YouTube universe where I do cartoons and tutorials and travel videos, art-related travel videos and all that good stuff. So if you guys take a hot second to go check that out, that would be greatly appreciated. This is Sketch Zone. You can find us usually every Thursday night. We'll do a show. And like I said at the beginning of the show, it's episode 198. So we got a whole bunch of shows that you guys can go catch up on. We'll be waiting for you. So every Thursday night, right around 9 o'clock California time. That's why we're doing this on a Sunday afternoon, because Al is on the East Coast and we ain't trying to start a show at 2 o'clock in the morning.
That was very nice. Thank you for doing that.
You can go to sketch.zone, or you can, you're watching here on live on YouTube, and we like to do this show live because we get to read some of the comments and some of the questions that the audience is asking. So if you can watch us live and interact with us, we'll make you a part of the show. If not, obviously you can catch us on YouTube. Otherwise, we're sketch.zone. We have everything there. We have links to all of our social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, obviously YouTube, because that's where you're watching this. We have a Discord channel that's happening. Landon is usually the dude that's handling that stuff. And then if you are trying to find a recorded version of the show, you can find us on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, and of course, iTunes and Spotify. Everyone, thank you so much. Shout out to Elizabeth. She's a young award-winning animator that has been on the show and is always catching us. So, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe and then hit that little bell, because just like Lauren said, that helps us a lot, because then you'll be alerted. And then that first, I think it was the first hour that really determines the success of a video. And then with that being said, everyone, again, thank you so much, all of you guys, for taking time out of your, well, you guys are on lockdown, so you guys ain't doing anything any damn way. So it's about damn time you guys showed up for one of these early ones.
No one's got excuses anymore.
No, I think my mic stand is starting to come loose. Anyway, all right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys in the next show.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye, guys.